It was only 6 months ago that Canada's Postal Service came to a grinding halt when its workers went on strike. And as contract negotiations get underway, the possibility of another isn't that far away. Roger Collins joins us now with more on this story. What can you tell us, Roger?
Manisa, the last time Canada Post went on strike was smack in the middle of the busy holiday season. Things got so bad the Labour Minister had to step in and force them back onto the job. But this time around, things are a little different. Canada Post could go on strike again. The deadline for Canada Post and the Canadian Union of Postal Workers to come to an agreement on a new contract is May 22nd, which is a little over 2 weeks away. And if the two parties can't iron out a deal, approximately 55,000 postal workers could walk off the job for the second time in 6 months. For 5 weeks in 2024, Canada's mail service was thrown into limbo, delaying everything from rebates, letters, and parcels, all in the middle of the busy holiday season, impacting Canadians nationwide.
And so the impact of the strike was tremendous. We estimated that it costs small businesses in financial impact, lost sales, lost revenues, $1.6 billion.
And as the union and Canada Post went back and forth, public frustration grew until Federal Labour Minister Steve McKinnon put an end to things.
Negotiated agreements between the parties in a dispute are the best way forward, but both parties need to be at the table and be prepared to negotiate. It's with this in mind that I am intervening today to make sure both parties have a solid foundation to resume negotiations and reach a mutual agreement as quickly as possible, and once the Commissioner publishes his report in May of next year.
It didn't end so much as it was put on hold. The nuclear option, so to speak, would have been for the government to legislate them back to work, period. And there wouldn't have been this cooling off period of 6 months or so.
But now that time has come and things are a little different. This isn't the busy holiday season. So does Canada Post have the same kind of leverage as it did last year?
Businesses are having to deal with the current business environment, which is not great. You know, we are under the U.S. Tariffs. Canada has imposed their own counter tariffs. And so the situation is already difficult for many small firms in Canada. And the last thing that businesses need is another strike.
I believe the strike is inevitable because there is no common ground between the two. Canada Post is insolvent. Canada Post is on the precipice of going out of business. Canada Post has 3 product lines. 2 of them account for 95% of revenues. One is letter mail that we all know about. It's in complete collapse since 2006 because of the digitization of everything informational.
Even Canada Post's own CEO is willing to admit that it's, quote, not sustainable. So if it can't give the union what it wants, what's next for the Crown Corporation?
What this means is that Canada Post must be restructured. Radical surgery, radical restructuring to produce a much smaller post office because they don't have the revenues to sustain a 65,000 person organization. And so we just have to accept that the post office's time has come and gone mostly. Anytime you shut down an organization of that size, it's going to hurt, and there's going to be lots of screaming and yelling.
I reached out to both Canada Post and the union for comment on the matter. Neither one can comment on specifics, but Canada Post did say it's preparing for a number of potential outcomes, including the possibility of a labor dispute later this month.